Hi, my guest today was kidnapped, and we're going to talk about that. Kidnapped, you heard me right. Okay. But first, before I do anything else, let me go live on Instagram because I know they want to know too. So bear with me. If you want to know about resilience and healing big traumas, this is an episode for you. My guest, as I said just a moment ago, was kidnapped. That's right. And we're going to talk about her new book. It's called Flourish in Captivity. And we're going to dive deep into how to become more resilient. How do you overcome these big traumas in life? Not like the little ones, because there's little traumas and big traumas, but we're talking about big traumas like being kidnapped and held in captivity for 3 months, 90 days, not knowing whether you're going to live or die, be raped, be beaten, like not knowing if when you're going to eat, if you're going to get to shower, if you're going to survive this, and being held in complete darkness for 3 months. Okay? So that is a big trauma, okay? A huge one. And how did she overcome this? To thrive in life, not just to survive. She is not just a survivor. She is a thriver. She's a thriver. And you have got to hear this story. I've shared it on this podcast before. And so I'll put some clips on Instagram, and I'll put some clips in my stories and on my YouTube shorts, okay, of the old episode. And you can find that on my YouTube channel or on the Facebook page, actually, but you'll have to scroll back because I think it was like 2 years ago. And I have a lot of content, honestly. So this story is an incredible one. I was blessed to be the first person that she shared it with publicly. And as one of my former students at the London Real Academy, I'm a coach, um, I encouraged her to share this story and that journey of living with, the fear of sharing it, and then to watch her, because she was already successful in other areas of her life. She didn't have to share this story. She didn't have to be open about it. She didn't have to start a podcast, Unbreakable Life with Glory, where she helps people with mental health issues. Like, she didn't have to do any of that stuff, right? But she did, because even though she was an already incredibly successful businesswoman, right? And she'd overcome so much to get there. There was more to her journey. There was more healing. And it was this. It was being able to share this story with the world in the way that she has. And now she has an amazing new book. We're going to talk about that. But more importantly, we're going to share with you techniques for how you can become more resilient and for how you can heal and thrive after experiencing really big traumas in life. And with that, I'm going to bring her on. My favorite, my first, my number one, and a former co host of Hot Topics Live podcast, as well as a current guest co host whenever I need a guest co host. She comes back and hang out with me, which I love. Gloria Londono.
Hi, Kia. How are you?
I'm good, honey. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so excited and also emotional of all the things that you said.
Oh,
Sometimes it's hard for me to recognize that I'm Brazilian or I've been going through a lot and be able to overcome all that. And even you write a book or even everything I done it to transform my life is sometimes is always there the if I did this, wow, I did that. And when other people say it, it's like more powerful to hear it. It's like, wow, I didn't know I did all this.
I mean, I totally understand that. I feel the same way. When people start to run down some of the stuff that I do and that I've been doing, I'm like, "Is that me?" Like, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's like imposter syndrome, you know? You feel like, "Oh my gosh, I have done that stuff. I do those things." But it's just always gives you a different energy when someone is recognizing you, and I think that's a big thing. We've gotta learn how to just be recognized and sit in
Yes.
that, you know, and feel that.
I think when you feel like today when you was saying all that about me, I got like a little bit tears in my eyes because it's like, wow, I remember 2 years, 3 years ago, more, yeah, that you told me write the book, and I was afraid. And today I'm presenting my book is releasing next week, and all the transformation I had to do to be able to say all this today. And also, don't take me wrong, I still have a little bit of fear, but that's the only way for me to overcome that fear, is just to be able to say the story and share my story with other people that have other fears, then they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, it's really powerful because we all live with some fear. Like
Yeah.
fear is, you know, that people say you're guaranteed to have birth and death, right? But you're
Yes.
also guaranteed to have fear,
Yes.
right? And love. You're going to feel love at some
Yes.
for something or someone in your life, and you're going to feel fear, and you're going to die eventually. So
Yes.
those things are guaranteed, right? And I think we all struggle with fear, especially after something extremely traumatic has happened to us. And so, for those people who have not heard your story and they haven't had a chance to go back and watch your previous episodes on Hot Topics Live where we discuss your kidnap story, will you give us? I know I said a little bit of it at the beginning, but will you tell us like a little bit of how that happened to you?
Yes, I was 25 years old. I'm right now 51. So it took me almost 17 years to be able to talk about this situation, this trauma. I was in University of Medellin, something that I couldn't even say before. I was studying, I was a student from University of Medellin, and coming out from class at 5:45 p.m. They two cars, they stopped my car. They grabbed me from my hand and put me in a trunk of a car, and I got in panic mode. I didn't know what it was going to do to me, and it was like 90 days in the dark in a very small room. Something like it teach me a lot. Even there was a huge trauma that a lot of people that are being kidnapped, sometimes they cannot even overcome because it goes very deep on you when you are kidnapped. And when I was kidnapped, I described the other day, somebody interviewed me. She said, how you can describe being kidnapped? I said, being kidnapped is like you are dead but alive. And I feel that way. I was dead but I was alive, but it was something very ironic about what I want to say, that when you are kidnapped, you are physical kidnapped, but your mentally your mind is free. And when your mind is free, you are able to survive because you get creative, because you get to a point that you don't cry anymore. It took me 11 days for me to stop completely crying, to stop, like, okay, what I'm gonna do here, like, okay, this is my reality, this is my present. I have no choice. I have no choice to say I'm gonna open the door and go. I have no choice. So what was the only choice? To be here and to be present and to be creative and to see how I was gonna be able to survive, and also to come out alive, because the only thing I want to do is come alive to for my daughter, because at that time I have a 3-year-old daughter that I live in the kindergarten, and in the daycare. I'm sorry, kindergarten, no, in the daycare. And supposedly that night I was gonna pick her up, and I couldn't pick her up because I was kidnapped. So that was one of the biggest things that hold me into survival mode. Because if she didn't exist, I probably would not be even talking. Because in the story, also my family say they was not gonna pay anything for me. So in one point of the story, I was abandoned. They abandoned me completely. So I didn't know what was going on behind the scene, behind what they was doing. But when you are 2 months in and your family told you they're not gonna pay for you, you are like, okay, now what?
Now I'm gonna die.
I'm
That's what
gonna
I'd be
die.
thinking. Right?
Right. So when you get out from the kidnap, it happens something completely the opposite. You are physical free. You have physical. You're free, but you mentally you auto kidnap yourself in fear and in those emotions that you collect being kidnapped. Like the humiliation comes out, the rejection comes out, the like the emotions of fear. They're not trusting anybody, so it's a big, huge process that if you don't take care of that, you it's hard for you. Life will be very hard for you. And my life was hard for me for 17 years, like hard, because I didn't understand what's going on with me. Even I knew I was kidnapped, but it was like a peeling an onion little by little. But I did have to like touch the ground to be able to say, okay, what's going on with me? Yes, I was kidnapped, but it's something more else because I didn't receive help like right away. So I transformed that on myself for many years. And the way I transformed this a little bit, transformed myself is when I came to the US after 10 months, they released me. I got workaholic. And I never worked in my life, but I got very workaholic. And I found out with my therapist that was part of me trying to overcome the trauma, but I didn't know how and why I was doing that way, why I was so trouble like a workaholic. And
That's
it was
crazy.
because I was in survival mode because I came here, I need to work. In the job that I was having, it was not enough. So I need to produce more to be able to stay because I wanted to stay here. I don't want to go back because I had a big fear going to Colombia. So
Mm.
I for me to stay, so I became workaholic because I was in completely survival mode. So I understand that. So since I got released or before I got released, my survival mode it was on the entire time until very recently that I have to say, well, if I don't stop that, I will be having, I'll be exhausted from life and it probably would take my life away because that's what happens when you are constantly in survival mode. You get tired physically, mentally, and you get to a point you don't want to do nothing.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I wanna go back to where you said that you were freed physically,
Hmm.
but mentally, then you were imprisoned and
Yes.
stuck in survival mode. And so you left Colombia because obviously I get it. Like I would not want to be there. I
Mm-mm.
would be trying to change my life as completely as possible. And then I can just imagine, hearing your parents say that they were not going to pay for you and how that would have made you feel even being released and going back to them. I wouldn't want to like I understand that they have their own experience and their own trauma around their daughter being kidnapped,
Oh
right?
yes.
But and especially your little daughter who probably
Yes.
was waiting for you to come and then you didn't come. And then like
Yes.
there's so much trauma involved for everyone in this experience of you being kidnapped, right? But you are the main person who was kidnapped and you were in the captivity and had to live through that experience and survive it, which she talks about in her book. So if you want more details, you have to go get the book and read it. You have to. It's a good read. It's an easy read. You can read it in like 4 hours, but it will keep you engaged the entire time. So essentially, like coming out of there and feeling maybe some sort of animosity, I guess I would say. That's how I would have felt kind of towards my family, that I would have done anything possible to like get away from Colombia and also probably get away from them in some regard. You know, maybe not like never talk to them again, but just not be in their physical space, you know, and then come here and then in a new country where you don't really speak the language and you have to adapt to the and assimilate into a new culture that's completely different.
Yes.
And then of course you're in survival mode because you're surviving so many things. You're trying to get past what happened to you and try to forget it. You're trying to develop a life in a new country, and you've left everything that you've known and loved behind and started completely over, and now you have to make money to survive. So of course you're in survival mode, but you're in survival mode on so many levels. How did you start to work through that?
Ooh. Well, I'm going back to what you said about my family. Yes, it was. I didn't want to know anything about them, like almost for not saying I'm not saying the whole entire 17 years, but I was mad at them, very
Mm,
mad at them, and I couldn't have a relationship with them, with my brothers, when my father and mother. I couldn't, because yes, like you said, they said about this and being when I was kidnapped. They said we don't have money. God bless you. Your daughter's in good hands. Is what it is. For you, it's like what you just hear. So when you get out, and then your father say, and when your father can say like, wow, you look out to kidnap, because the kidnappers, they take care very well of me because I did have Stockholm syndrome. But going back to your question, that how I get out, I got tired, I got exhausted in one point, that my relationships was not doing well, and always feisty, always very hard on people, and like I don't care, this is the way I am, and not understanding me well why I was with that attitude all the time. I was very hard on me because I didn't know until I went to therapy, and the therapist said to me, Gloria, do you realize you be in survival mode the entire time? I said, no. Do you realize do you have Stockholm syndrome? I said, no. Do you? It was a many stuff that I was not even aware. And when she was saying that, it makes sense to me. And then I start understanding more and more why my attitude. And then I feel sorry for me, not in victim mode, like, wow, of course I have to be that way. Not because I have to be. Of course I'm gonna be like that if I never deal with my trauma, if I never deal what happens to me. And I was like, I would say, like very ignorant on my emotions and everything that I have. So for me to act that way, it was the right way for me to act, because I didn't know how to deal with all that huge trauma. So one of my friends also, I was going to be massage therapy. I was studying to be a massage therapy. And one of my friends said to me, Gloria, let's go to have a retreat, a forgiveness retreat, and see what happens. So I went to this, forgiveness retreat, and that was the opening of my starting to my transformation. But the transformation is not like, okay, I go 4 days and that's it. I already different. No, it took me a lot of things to do, like forgive my parents, first forgive myself to be so hard on me, second to be so hard with my parents and to not understand their story, because every story have two parts. So I the only thing I did is run away with my story in a victim mode. Of course I'm a victim, but in a victim mode. But I never sit down with my mom and my father and say, why you guys say that? It hurt me so
mm,
much.
yeah.
And I couldn't do that. I was afraid even to bring that subject in until last December 2023. I sat down with them and I said, I want to know why you guys say this in the kidnap, and when I was kidnapped. And my father said, no, I didn't want to say that. they make me to do that because that's the way to do, so they can emotionally destabilize the kidnappers. And I also tell my father I feel that I was in a roulette, like
A
like, okay,
gamble with your life.
right, gamble with
Yeah.
my life. And then he said he didn't want to say it.
Mm.
And my mom, he said also, your mom have to take pills to be able to say that. So when he said all that, and I hear that, I cry for the entire day because I
Wow.
was so hard on them, and I didn't understand also their pain. And also my brother, my second brother, said that he cries a lot. He was so sad for many years, and I like judge him also for many years that he don't love me, he don't care about me. It was like an open wound for me, and also open of, okay, we need to be conscious, we need to see the story of the two, we need to see the story, but the two sides of the story. Because I'm coming with a book, and I don't want to be like, oh, the victim, that my family this and that. And also my book is completely devoted to my family, because if it was not for them, I was not here, and it was not for them, I was not able to be the woman that I am today. So it's a very powerful story, because we tend to not to run with our stories, but we don't hear the other story that also is very powerful on the other side.
Oh my God, love that you said that. This is something that I've been really experiencing and more conscious of, because we do this unconsciously, right?
Yes.
Something will happen with another person, and their behavior will trigger us in some way or
Yes.
affect us in some way. And we will tell ourselves a story about what it means. Like, we will make up this narrative about their actions without really knowing what their actual intention was, and we
Yes.
make it mean something. And a lot of times, because I don't know, I'm not going to get into all the science of it, but you can google it or look at it up on YouTube. But the way our minds are wired is for survival. From It's in our hardwired into our DNA from being cave people or whatever. But we are also prone to think negative. So we're going to automatically, most of the time, if you're unconscious, if you're not aware that you do this, you're going to choose the negative option, the negative story, and we're going to run with that story. And we will make decisions based on a story that's not even true, because we're so afraid to confront. So we I think most of us tend to want to avoid conflict, because we want to keep ourselves
Yes.
safe. Our goal in life, intrinsically, I think, is to be safe and to feel pleasure, like to avoid pain. So we're hardwired to avoid hard things, right? Most of us, or those of us are not aware that this is the thing, right? So we will avoid the difficult conversation while we're telling ourselves a story that's not true, and we will make real life decisions based on a story we made up in our mind.
Yes.
So it's incredible how a lot of people don't get to that point where you sat down with your parents and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you about this." And you had the difficult conversation, and you got to sit with them and hold space for their pain,
Yeah.
even because all of you were kidnapped in some way.
Completely. And I can see still my father in some ways, the way he thinks, and also I can see fear on him. Like I was with them for 3 months last year to be able to overcome for me to be there in Christmas, because they kidnapped me in October 22nd, 1997 to January 28th, 1998. So I went there to face my fear to be there. And even when I was there, I saw my father fears. And I said, oh my God, I now understand more. So I went there to turn around, to close the cycle of me being as, oh, victim, or my family this, or my family that. And also I feel like a lot of compassion, like a lot of compassion for them. But also I need to learn how to ask the questions I want to ask, because I couldn't come and say, oh, you know what, you guys didn't want to pay for me, blah blah. No, I want to know why was the situation that you guys have to say this, so it doesn't sound like I'm judging them or criticizing
Attacking.
them,
Mhm.
attacking. So
Mhm.
when I said that, he right away opens to me and say a lot of stuff I didn't know about the kidnap. And also he already forgot a lot of stuff of the kidnap that I said to him. You say this, you say that. I said to him, why you said when I came out from the kidnap the same day, what you said that I look out to kidnap, like you thought I out to kidnap myself for ransom. And then he said, no, I didn't say that way. And maybe it was the commotion of the moment that I see you looking so well, that's why it was the first thing that come out from my mouth. But I never thought you kidnap yourself.
Oh
So
my
I ran
gosh.
with that story in my mind for many years. And shame on me, I would say shame on the situation that I couldn't even process this before. But life is perfect. And for me to be able to say this today and overcome that is for people to also listen to this and say, wow, I have 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years that I don't talk to my family because I run with my story. But I didn't know, I don't know their story. So it's very common that we run with our stories because our ego. But it's very
Right.
uncommon to sit down in a conscious way, very, very nice, sweet way to ask, listen, I hear this from you. It hurt me. Can you tell me what you say that? How was you in that moment when you say that? It's very uncommon to do that, but that's the real miracle there.
That's super powerful. It's so true. It's like, and also there's another side to that. Like you can want to sit down and have a heart to heart conversation with someone, but if they cannot do that, like if they're not there mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, if they're not emotionally mature enough or emotionally intelligent enough to be willing to be vulnerable and to open to you and to share, then it's very difficult to be able to have that kind of conversation. So while would definitely advocate for people to go and try to do that and to follow in your footsteps, to just be aware that you could be approaching a person who it doesn't have the capacity to give you those answers like your parents did,
The
you know?
point is, Kia, when you do that, you have to go to them when you really forgive them.
Mm,
Because if you not forgive them for whatever reason they did to you still have that energy. And
mm.
people energy can read energy, so you will match whatever reaction the other person will have because you're not ready. Because you're not ready, maybe you're not ready, not even forgive them for real. Because you can say, yes, I forgive them. And then they do something and you can say, oh, stupid, blah, 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 all the negative stuff about people. But when you are ready, like very humble, to say, I forgive my father, forgive my mom. Now I want to understand them. Then you can have that energy in the way, the sound of your voice, in the way you approach. There's a lot of things involved for you to approach somebody, for you to heal, but you need to heal first.
That's an excellent first step, right? First step
Yes.
to healing a connection that has been impacted by a very big trauma is
Mhm.
working on yourself and healing yourself and getting to a point where your energy is calm and peaceful and you're seeking to understand and you're not angry anymore. That's what I'm understanding from what you're saying. Is that correct?
And also, you are capable to receive any kind of reaction of the other person, and you're gonna be okay with that. because sometimes we want to heal, and we think we heal, and then you is the practice, and then you need to practice what you heal, and sometimes the person is not ready, so right now you have to be patient. So maybe you need to do more work in yourself to be able to reconnect that connection. It's like a broken phone. Like you're not going to have a connection if you are broken. So
Mhm.
you need to heal first, and also be receptive of whatever reaction the other person, and understand also they are in pain like you, or the way you was, and they don't know how to transmute that.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's definitely very difficult.
It's
So I want
difficult.
to ask you a question about Stockholm syndrome because
Yes.
I think that a lot of people really don't understand what it is or know they have heard of it, but they don't really understand what an impact it has. So can you explain a little bit about that and how you worked through it?
Well, Stockholm syndrome is when you get emotionally attached to your captor. In my case, to the kidnappers. I didn't know this until I got released. I got help for psychology. And what happens is when you are survival mode as a woman, I can only talk about as a woman because a man could be different. Me as a woman, when I didn't have no choice to leave, I said, well, I have a power. The power I have is this seduction. The power I have is to be grateful, nice, be happier, like where I am. And I start being like that way. Thank you for the water. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the showers. Thank you for my my pots, because I do have my period that time. Thank you for everything. At the beginning, they don't want to answer to you anything. They just like whatever. Then I saw when one of them said, "You're welcome," and then was responding to that kindness. And then right away I said, "Ooh, there's something here." Kindness, like being nice. I can maybe get them to like me more, so they're not gonna let me to kill or do something to me. But I also saw one of them, like, as a woman, we know when you are in survival mode, we know who can be a target. And the target, when I said target, is how you can seduce that person. So I saw one of them that was quiet, the energy was quiet, because I never see the faces. So I have to learn the energy, I have to learn the way the voices sound, how they smell, how the eyes, how they move the eyes, the expression through the eyes. So I saw one of them that was quiet, and I saw that he was carrying more, a little bit more extra than the other ones towards me. So I said to myself, "Oh, this is the guy." And I work into that, be nicer. Like I asked him, "Are you coming tomorrow? Are you going to stay here with me?" But before that, I got attached to him, because one day I had a severe depression that I couldn't get up. Because when you're kidnapped, you got anxiety, you got depression, you got all kind of emotions that you can't even imagine. So the guy came in with the breakfast and say, "Get up," and I said I couldn't. I couldn't physically. And then he said, "How come you can?" I said, "I don't know. I can't." So he tried to pull me up, and I came down again. So he put the breakfast aside, and he just carried me. He sat down in the bed with me, and he just like hugged me. In that moment, I feel energy transferred to me, and I feel safe around his arms. And that's where I got attached to him, because when you're little, you're the person who think that can save your life is your father, and when you grow up, is the one that you think that can save you is your partner. In this case, I saw him as my father first. Like, okay, this guy is helping me, he care about me, because every single little detail when you are kidnapped is huge. Like even if they say, "Good morning, Gloria," it's like, wow, it feels good. When they hug you, it feels good, because I did have a long period with no contact of human, like hugging. And when he did that, I feel the transfer and I feel I got attached and I feel I want him more. I want him more. I want him more. And then I saw the opportunity to seduce him more and to be nicer to him and to start like be more like aggressive with him and say, not aggressive like in aggressive, say like, I stay with me more. I even say, can you give me a kiss? I want a kiss from you. So it got into that, but it was more in my survival mode. And I don't even, I didn't understand why I was doing that. So I feel guilty for many years that I did that until I clarified that with one of my therapists. Said, Gloria, people in captivity, that is what they happen. They're always looking avenues to escape or to be safe. And you had that opportunity. So I got a Stockholm syndrome because, I was trying to save my life. And actually, this guy, the kidnapper, was an angel inside of the situation because he bettered my food. He bettered my water, means he bring me more water. He take me more times to take a shower because I couldn't shower every day. But he got into like get me more showers. If I was too hot, he bring me another t-shirt. So he bettered my situation out in there. And also he was worried if my food was warm enough for me. And the relation started. And it was like, I feel it was like kind of my boyfriend inside of the situation. And he also said that he loved me. I also said to him, I love him. But I knew it was not love. Because the day they released me, he said, I want to see you again. And inside of me, I said, no, I don't want to see this guy again. I just want to get out of here. So I use him, but also he used me too. But I
Mhm.
use him to be safe and for him to protect me, to that not rape me or sell me, because that was the intention, to sell me. If my family was not gonna pay, this guy don't let me to sell. Don't let me them to sell me to other groups. So the guy was an angel being in a situation that is hard. So Henry, I call him Henry in the book. So Henry is a big part of my life because I'm here. Because of him, I'm here.
Why did you choose Henry?
I don't know why that name come out when I was writing when I was like writing the book, because he never told me his name. So I said to when I was writing, and the coach, I said, so let's put a name. I said, let's put Henry. So that was the name, Henry.
What was it like for you when they released you? Take me back to that night that you got released. What was it like for you?
It was a long day. It's the longest day in my entire 50 years old I have. I said like my very 50 years is being traumatic, and now my next 50 years is going to be helping other people to transform. So it was the longest time. I hear, because when you are kidnapped, your full senses start to amplify, like your hear, your smell, your taste, everything amplifies. So I hear 3 days before that I was counting money, pa 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 pa, like, and I said, oh, they pay for me. So I wait for Henry to come out, and I said, Henry, you guys pay for me. He said, how you know that? I said, because I hear that you guys was paying and that you got paid. And then I said, take me out from here. Let's get out. Let's get out. Open the door so I leave. I'm not gonna do anything. He said, no, it's not that simple. So 3 days later, he said in the morning, we're gonna release you today. And I said, oh my God. It was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. So it was a long day. They released me at 10 p.m. They told me like at 9 a.m. So imagine the whole entire day waiting for that 10 p.m. And the guy said, you're ready. I said, yes, I'm ready. And he said, I'm not gonna bend your eyes because we're gonna get out in a car. So, but I want you to be smart and not to look at me. And I said, I'm not gonna look at you. I promise that. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be so stupid, I would say, to just open my eyes to see him. I don't want that. And when he was opening the door, he put the feet between the doors before it opens completely, and he said, "Have those coins, have these coins, and have these bills. So when you get down, right away get a phone, and if the phone doesn't work, right away get a taxi, but move fast because I hear they want to kidnap you again." And I said, "No way." So I was, "No, no, 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 this cannot happen again." It would be like, no. So he already alert me, like, no. So the guy put me in the car. He put me his hand around, like this, like sitting down. So he was here, and I was here, and he was saying to me, "I'm so I'm so glad that you're going out. I'm so happy that you're gonna see your daughter, and also I'm so sad that I'm not gonna see you again. I would like to see you again, but I will I want to see if I can text you in 7 days, and it's gonna be, because in that time is was the beepers."
Mhm.
And he said, okay. I was saying, okay, okay, but inside of me I said, no, no, I don't want this guy to contact me. I don't want nothing about this guy. So
Wow.
they released me, and of course I was like stuck in like shock. I don't know where I was. I went to the phone and I couldn't dial because it was so nerve-wracking. And then I got the taxi, a random taxi. The poor guy didn't know he got just a person he got released. So when I get to the place, my apartment, my father apartment, it was like 100 cops and military people waiting for me. So the poor guy, was like, they rip his car apart. They interrogate him a lot because thinking that he was part of the operation. I said, no, 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 this is a random taxi. So for me, it was like, yes, I'm out, but at the same time, like I said to you, when my father said to me, "You look out to kidnap," I said, "Oh, this secret that I have with Henry, it would die with me." And see, right now I'm talking about Henry.
Because that's the power of healing, right? And
Yes,
growth,
yes,
and time.
yes.
So I remember a couple of years ago, you went to Colombia
Mhm,
and you went back to the
mhm.
place where they released you. It was in your stories on Instagram. And so tell me what it was like for you going back there those years later and being in the same place that they released you. I know it was part of your healing journey.
Right. When you are in a part of a healing journey, you have to face your traumas. You have to face your fears. And for me to be able to be in Colombia and Medellin, something that I couldn't do that before. Remember, and when we do podcasting, I always say to you, never say, "Yeah, I was in Colombia," never say I was in
Mhm.
Medellin. So I said to my mom, "Let's go to where they released me." And I was there, and I couldn't believe how much I walked, because in the moment when I remembered that night, it was like so fast. But at the same time, when I went back there, it was far, like
Mhm.
where I walk. And I said, wow. And I went to the payphone, and then I went to where the taxi was, and I told my mom, it was here. It was here. And then I feel I got there, like, standing up there, and I feel like, okay, we was here, we was in fear, and now this fear needs to go. Nothing's gonna happen again. And I feel like, okay, I already processed this. So every time we pass that area, it's not like, oh, I don't want to go there. It was, okay, let's pass. I want to see where I was, where I got released and all the things I overcome. Because when you overcome, the most powerful thing is to see what you overcome.
Wow, that is just so incredibly powerful. Like just to return to that spot and just
Yes.
heal that and to relive that experience, but like consciously aware of how far you've come It's just so powerful. And I remember watching those stories and being like blown away by just how all I can really say is it's powerful. It's like shows a huge amount of growth and resilience. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit is how does someone become resilient? Like obviously you were resilient, when you said that your body was in captivity, but your mind was free. Wow, just right?
Yes.
And I think, there's so much human trafficking going on right now.
Yes.
Um and um and so it obviously it was a bad situation. It could have been even worse.
Yes.
And you did what you needed to do to survive that. So how did the freedom of your mind, how do you feel like that made you more resilient while you were in captivity? And then how did you become resilient enough to continue on with a life and thrive the way you had, even though you were in survival mode? Because you were in survival mode, you said, for like 17 years.
Yes.
But you were incredibly successful during that
Yes.
time as well. So, and part of it's probably being a workaholic, okay? But you don't have to be a workaholic to be successful. Um,
Exactly.
so, my question is, how did you use that resilience that you gained while being in captivity to your advantage after?
Kia, is like the situation make you, it's like the situation guide you to do what you need to do. It's not like, oh, I'm resilient. No, the situation make you to be resilient and wanted to leave. I think that if you really wanted to leave, that make you resilient. If you want to be who you want to be, it make you who you want to be. It's just to want it. In my case, to be resilient, I have no choice. Number one, I have no choice. If I wanna leave, I have to be there, present, and see what is the next thing, and to see how I'm gonna thrive on this. But it's not like you go in a situation you know how to thrive. No, you go into a situation, and the same situation show you how to thrive. It's not like, okay, I'm resilient. No, I know how to thrive. No, because sometimes myself, I say, like, sometimes I go to situations still, because everybody goes to situations. Doesn't mean that I went through this and I know everything in my life is resolved. We all go through situations every day, and sometimes I forgot that when situations happen, you just have to let the situation to thrive and show you what you need to do, because you don't get anything if you get anxiety. Oh no, I need to do this, I need to do that. You just need to be there and see and be present and alert what exactly that situation is showing you what to do.
That's incredible. I mean, I think it's true. I think you become resilient by going through experiences
Yes.
and navigating them. And the more times you don't succumb to something or you don't give up, it builds that muscle, so to speak, through practice. Everything is like a practice. Like having a positive mindset is a practice because we're more prone to be negative, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not talking about, fake positivity or like you don't
No.
feel your feelings. That's a given. That's the ABCs, right? I'm talking about shifting your thoughts towards more positive outcomes and finding the good in the negative situations and not letting them destroy you, which is exactly what you did while you were in captivity. That to me is what flourish in captivity means. It means finding the way through the hard thing. So if you are experiencing a big trauma, because there's big traumas in life and little traumas in life, and I am not a therapist, but I have done a lot of studying. You can Google this and check my facts, okay? But there are big traumas and little traumas. And a little trauma can be something like, getting into a fight with a friend or
Yes.
someone you love,
Mhm.
moving away or breaking up with you. That can be like sort of a smaller trauma, or you could have someone you love die. That could be a bigger trauma, or you could experience domestic violence, which we just did an episode on of this podcast, and can be a big trauma, right? So when you're going through a big trauma, we're talking about this because I think we can all agree that being kidnapped is a big trauma,
It's a
okay?
big trauma.
Especially for any amount of time, but 90 days in complete darkness, that is not able to shower every day, no toilet paper, spoiler alert from the book.
Yeah.
Just like, everything that you had to experience, all the details are in the book if you want to know them. Um, just going through that kind of big trauma, working through that and coming out the other side, even with PTSD, which we'll talk about,
Yeah.
is it builds your resilience. You the only way, I love this saying, the only way out is through, right? The only way out is through. So going through that experience and coming out on the other side of it, even though you experience Stockholm syndrome and severe anxiety and depression
Yes.
and PTSD, right, which are all things you talk about on your podcast, Unbreakable Life with Glory. um Even though you had those, you were still resilient because you were able to make it through the experience. And I think that once you make it through this big trauma that you're facing, you realize, okay, the little traumas are super easy to get through because I'm resilient enough to get through the big things. And then when another big thing happens, then you're like, okay, this is horrible and it's devastating, and you go through all your emotions and your feelings, but somewhere inside you know that you can get through it because you made it through something so seemingly insurmountable, you know.
Right. And also, Kia, like when you have this kind of big traumas, like you said, is it take a long time. It take a long time to process. But when something comes up for me in this moment, I know what is the reason of what was going on, and I have the tools to transform it quickly as possible. I'm not saying I don't cry. I still cry. I still have pain. I still suffer. I still have all the emotions that everybody has. But now I don't linger for so long in a situation. I just, okay, this is what's happening. I feel this way. I recognize what I'm feeling. I know I'm sad. I know this. I know that. And then how I need to move through this. So it's a practice, like you said. You need to practice to be in the present. You need to practice to be, focus in what's going on with your life, because we tends to go to the past. But past only serve us to understand our traumas, because traumas are necessary for you to grow. Because you in this planet is not like, oh, it's not going to be, oh, I don't have no trauma, no problems, no nothing. The people who say that is like BS.
Do
Because you
people
need
say
trauma,
that?
you need traumas to process. You need
Yeah.
to transform, to be better person. You're not a better person than anybody else. You are like same people, like same person like everybody else, same issues, same stuff. People have the evolution differently. Some people want to transform quickly, some people don't care about transformation. People are okay who they are, and it's okay. But when you are in pain for many years and you don't want that, and you feel like, how I'm going to get this out from my chest, how I'm going to feel free, because it's about freedom, to be free in your soul, in your mind, in your physical, because everything's somatized in your body, in your mind, and everything. And you feel like something is so heavy in you. And when you have like an issue with someone, if you don't resolve it right away, it's like, oh, this person is like, I'm not talking to this person, or it doesn't feel like normal to me. Like, to me, I don't feel in peace when I have a discussion with someone that we don't understand, or maybe I hurt somebody and I didn't say I'm sorry for this. It's an imbalance. So I feel like I'm not free 100%. And for me, freedom is that, to be in peace with yourself and to be in peace with people. So that's the freedom right there.
I agree with you. So tell me, okay, so what are some steps that you would suggest to like your coaching clients? Because I know you coach people as well, and I love a coach, and I think everybody should have one for whatever you need it for, right? It just does help. So, what would you teach your clients? Like, what are a couple of strategies that you would offer in addition to what you've already shared, that would help people transform and go through trauma, to be more resilient?
Well, first of all, everybody's different. So for me, I don't have a, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. I need to listen my client, what exactly they want to transform. Sometimes they have no idea what they want to transform. So you need to first listen very careful what your client wants, and then we took it. I take it from there. But for me, the very first thing they need to check, if you are anger, if you have anger, what is your anger coming from? Why you have anger towards this person? Why is inside of you? So for me, it's just to start to study your own life. That's the number one. Instead of looking outside, let's study your life. How it's been, why you have so much anger, where this anger coming from. So that's the like number one. Let's study where your anger is coming. Do you feel free? Do you feel, how do you feel? So we start from there, because they sometimes they don't know how to feel, or they don't know what they're feeling. So we need to discover first what exactly are their feelings, or what exactly they want to transform.
That's a really good point. But before you go on, I want to go over to Instagram and I want to tell everybody thank you so much for watching, especially on Instagram. I'm really new to going live on Instagram, but I appreciate you. On Instagram, we only have 1 hour, and Hot Topics Live podcast usually goes on for about an hour to an hour and a half. And so it looks like we're going to go a little bit long today, you guys. So I would love it if you would come over to YouTube and watch the end of the podcast. If you'd like to, just search Hot Topics Live podcast on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the rest of the episode, including something I do really special at the end, which is these. Okay, this is a little message meant to find you. It's a soul truth for you, something I've added on to the show that people seem to be enjoying, and it's helpful. So join me over on YouTube. Search Hot Topics Live podcast, and you can find out the rest of the tips from Gloria and how to get her book. And you can get your little special message from the universe, God, Spirit, Allah, whatever
Here's
you
the
believe
book.
in, to you. So, okay. And I will see you on YouTube. All right. So, continuing on, what
Yes.
would be the second thing that you would suggest or teach for your clients?
Well, the second thing I would say, how's your relationship with yourself and how's your relationship with your family? Because for me, the most important thing also is the relationship with your mother and father and siblings. But if the person have issues with the father, it will have issues with the abundance. If they have issues with the mother, it will have issues with the success. So because we are like integral, like we have to have the yin and yang, because father and mother is the yin and yang. uh I would say, let's work and forgive the forgiveness towards your father or your mother, to open your doors for opportunities in your life, and also for healing. Because when you transform, your family transform, but it needs to start from you, and recognize your side and recognize everything. So for me, second thing is your family.
What would you say for people whose parents, like mine, are deceased? So, what would you say for people like me who, had these traumas or difficulties with their parents, but they're no longer living.
Well, you need to have a conversation with them, even they're not here. They saying that you really forgive them because what they did was perfect. Because the only thing they need to do, the parents, is just to bring you to life, and that's the best gift that they can give you, to bring you to life and have the opportunity to be in this world. Some people say, "Oh, I didn't ask for them to bring me." Yes, you ask in a way to be here. But if you hear, like when you are kidnapped, you have no choice. When you are here, you have no choice. Make the best of it to be here. And when you feel, it's like you feel that you are in peace with them, even they're not here present. You feel when you think about them, there's no more the connection of angry or mad at them. You already know you're in peace and you love them for who they was, because they don't know better. They give you what the best they can. So that's the only way, because they're not here anymore.
It's definitely true. I mean, I've had that experience, and I'm going to be the first one to say it's not an easy path. That path of forgiveness, especially after your parents are no longer alive. And it's not linear, is my point. It's not like you just go, "Oh, I forgive them and I'm at peace now." It's sometimes like, for example, I went through this process after my mother died, where of forgiveness for her, but things will come up in life
Yes.
and it will remind me of the pain that I suffered as a child abuse survivor. And then I feel angry again, right? And then I have to go through the process again of getting back to my peaceful equilibrium. So, just to let you know out there, yes, this is important. The forgiveness is important. I know it's super cliche, but it's like you don't do it for them, you
No.
do it for you,
Yes.
So, what would
For your
be your,
for your peace.
yes. And so, what would be your third suggestion?
Third suggestion is will be practice, practice, practice. Practice present, practice your transformation, practice what you're working on. If you're angry, why you're angry. Every time you get angry doesn't mean when you're angry doesn't mean that you can never gonna be angry. You're gonna be angry, but now differently, more. Whatever situation is not going to take away your peace, because that's the main thing. When it's, people get confused, I'm in peace and you're not going to have a problem. Yes, you're going to have
Right.
problems,
Mhm.
but you're never going to get this inside of you, your light, get away. Like it's like you imagine your light, you having a light here. Nobody's gonna is gonna turn off that light for whatever situation. So it's practice, and it takes a time to do it. If some people get it faster, other people get it time. It depends how deep is the wound and how much you want it to heal, because that's just another factor. But practice, 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 practice the present, and be here. That's, you don't have no choice.
That's really true. That's really true. Those are great tips, and I think they can help a lot of people. I mean, especially about that anger, which brings me back to something I wanted to talk to you about, which you said earlier. As you were talking about when you came over here to the United States and you were a workaholic, but you had like an attitude and you were like feisty,
Yes.
and all of that was anger, right? It was a lot of unresolved anger that was coming up and out towards people and things and situations. And a lot of people being, military, as a veteran, and with my other podcast, the Female Veterans Podcast, I talk to a lot of military people and a lot of veterans who all suffer with PTSD, which
Yeah.
I have it pretty well managed, but I live with as well. And a lot of times, one of the key factors of PTSD is this angry outburst,
Yes.
excessive emotional response in an angry way. How do you manage that?
I did a 5 months of healing the anger. And some people say you heal in 90 days. In my case was 5 months. And what I did, I got a calendar, and I get angry for any reason, small, bigger, I write it down in my calendar. So at the end of the month, I highlight them. And at the end of the month, if I see my first month like so highlighted, means I do have angry issues. So and then in the second month, I say, okay, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna look why I'm getting angry for, and then it's like another process. Then I see my second month maybe much better, but not that much better, like a little bit less than the first one. That happens to me. The third one, it was a little bit better. When I saw that it got like the shifted, it was in the fourth and the fifth month that I saw my calendar going less and less and less. It doesn't mean my fifth month it was not highlighted. It was highlighted, but I knew exactly why I got angry, and I knew exactly what was my tools, because the tools is not the coach give you the tools. You create your own tools, because life give you tools, but people don't know how to get those tools. So for me, if it, for me, somebody can come right now and insult me and say a lot of things to me, and I'm not engaged in that energy, because I already know my anger. I know my levels. I know my tools that I can, how I can handle. Now, if something major happens and the thing comes out, it's gonna come out regardless, but it's not gonna come out for the little stuff or the little things that, yes, that I understand the other person. Like now, I'm in the point that I understand more the other person, and also I understand me. If somebody comes at me mad, I understand, and I'm not gonna engage on that, and I will let the person to cool down and wait and see what happens one day we have a conversation, but not like, oh, now she's mad or blah 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 blah. No, I just leave the, the situation and just be quiet, and it's gonna resolve, but it's gonna be in the right time. So I would say that if you really want to work your anger, you need this, just your job. It's not a therapist. You can go to the therapist or to a coach, and the coach can tell you, do this, do that, blah, blah. But if you really not committed to see your own issues and to write it down and to find the root of that, you're not going to heal. You can spend a lot of money going to any kind of coach or therapist. If you don't do your own work, you're not going to heal. It's going to take a long time.
That's so true. That is so true. I mean, ultimately, as a coach, we give you tools. We give you suggestions. But you have to want it. You have to want to do the work, and you have to actually do the work. So I can tell I've been coaching for long enough, privately and with the academy, with London Rail Academy, long enough to see the people who want to do the work and who don't, who are committed and who are not. And I don't like to waste my time with
No,
people who really aren't there to do the work, because it isn't easy. Anything you want, you truly want, is going to take massive action. You're going to have to sometimes make sacrifices, sometimes get uncomfortable, sometimes face truths within yourself that you don't even want to look at, right? But you
right.
have to, in order to get to the other side. And the other side is beautiful.
It's
It's
beautiful.
amazing. It's peaceful. It's where most of your days are good days, because, of course, we all have bad days. We all have bad things that happen,
Every
but
day.
you
Yes.
learn the resilience to get through them. And you learn to trust yourself that you can handle these big traumas that happen in life. Because one thing we know, just like with love, death, fear, birth, you're going to have traumas. You're going to have things that come up, and you have to be able to work through them, but not just to survive them, but to thrive. And
Yes.
that's so incredible, everything that you've done, Gloria, and the way that you worked really hard to be the CEO of A&B, and then to leave that and start a whole personal self-growth journey, becoming a yoga instructor and learning Reiki and learning how to coach people, and then creating your podcast that helps people feel better, which I love. The whole goal of Unbreakable Life with Gloria is to help people feel better. And sharing like about healing generational wounds and family traumas, and being the healer of your family, and just all of the work that you do to help and support people. And now with Flourish in Captivity and your upcoming speaking engagements, where you're
Yes.
finally going to be on stage sharing these tools with people to help them feel better. Like, what better purpose and mission is in that in life? And it's incredible to see.
Ikea, the most thing that make me the most happy is to see people transform, to people to feel better. And when some people comes to me and they said they want me to help them, the first question is, "Are you ready? Like, are you ready?" Because this is not like, it's not like going to buy a piece of clothing and return it. Like, no, once you get into transformation, you don't want to go back. You don't want to go back. You want to keep going, but that going is like painful, but it's beautiful. Like you said before, it's painful, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's worth it and
It's
worth
worth
it.
it.
It's
Yes.
worth it. You know, you are worth it. And that's one of the things that I love to say on this podcast, is that this is your reminder. You can join me every 2 weeks, or I should say, set your notifications, because I'm getting really busy. So definitely set your notifications so that you know when I come live. It's usually around 10 a.m. every other Wednesday, but sometimes not, sometimes more. I'm actually going to start doing some lives on my own, talking about my dating experiences as a divorced woman in her 40s, right? But I know that a lot of my audience is men, so don't feel alienated. You can watch too. You might learn something that women might like. But I love men and I love my male audience, so don't feel alienated. But I just really feel like it's important to share, set your notification so you know when I come live, so that you can get your reminder that you are amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
And you deserve to be living the best life possible, whatever that means for you. And if you are not living that life right now, definitely set your notifications and tune into this podcast. And if you want to feel loved and you want to feel like someone cares about you and knows that you're worthy and deserving of everything beautiful in life that you want, then come hang out with me for this time with Hot Topics Live podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple, all of that if you prefer listening, or you can come hang out with me. Tune in live and leave comments if you want to be part of the show. Leave comments. I'll put them up on the screen like my girl Bougie did. Hey girl, hey, she's my
Thank you.
sweetheart. She's so cute. And all of the wonderful people who tuned in today to share and listen and get good energy, because this show's a good vibe. That's my intention for this show. And Gloria, I want to just say that I'm so grateful for you to being a guest today
Thank
and
you.
share your story. I hope everyone goes to get your book. Before we wrap it up for today, I would love it if you would share a passage from your book with
Of,
us so we
of
can get
course.
excited to go buy it.
Of course. This was a conversation that I had with Henry, with the kidnapper. I said, "That is not in my control. I told the truth to save my life, and I hope you can honor that. Even if my family doesn't pay, I say, I told you at the start that my family doesn't care that much for me." He responds, "Wow, you really are negotiating for your life."
Wow, that is something. So show us the book and let us know where we get it from.
Here is right now in pre-sale in Amazon. You can buy it, but you're gonna get it after April 24. And if you want to watch me talk about it, I'm gonna be in University of Miami on April 27, and I will give more information exactly where it's gonna be in my Instagram. That is Gloria Londono Coach, and that's it, pretty much.
That's so awesome. So I want to say this, like, go and get the book. It's called Flourish in Captivity, right? Get it anywhere, pre-order it. I've been reading it. So I'm honestly, about a quarter of the way through. It's a good read. It engages you. And it's a quick read. So if you love reading books like I do, you probably could read it in 3 or 4 hours. Or you can just do it a little bit. Sometimes I read a little bit each night when I'm really busy. You can learn more about Gloria on Instagram. Go and follow her. She puts stories every day, really inspiring in Spanish and English. So if you see it in Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, don't get freaked out. There will be English ones too. You can follow her.
The Spanish is coming soon too.
Yeah.
So I will tell you when, later we'll tell you when the Spanish is coming, but it's almost ready too.
That's so exciting. So much stuff going on. If you want to learn more about Gloria, definitely follow her. Go to her website. It's there down at the bottom, scrolling across, and listen to her podcast, Unbreakable Life with Gloria, anywhere you listen to podcasts to catch up on whatever she's doing. She's a coach, she's an author, she's a public speaker now. Like, honestly, I mean, my very first student, by the way. So when I
Yeah.
tell you I coach and I coach successful people, here's one. Here's my receipts. Okay. So if you do need a coach, hit me up. You can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is down here, right there, too. But only serious inquiries. Okay. Honestly, I don't have a lot of time and I only take very serious people.
Also,
Um,
you are in the book too.
Am I? I can't. Oh my
Yes.
God. Well, I'll get there and I'm going to freak out.
Yes, you are
I'm
in the book.
sure. So, yeah. So, we have lots of people tuning in today. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, you just tune in. You can ask questions, you can leave comments, and maybe, just maybe, if you're really involved and interesting, I might send you a link to join us live or join me live. I don't know. So Gloria, normally what I do at this time is I have my guests go to the green room. We say
Yes.
our goodbyes and we go
Okay.
to the green room. But because you are my first, we started Hot Topics Live podcast together, really, and you are the co-founder. But you can see she's too busy to be on all of these podcasts, speaking, writing books, and all of this stuff. We love her and we love having her back, but we understand. I'm going to have you stay here when I do these.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well,
And you
that's
can be part
awesome.
of that. Because I feel like there's a message for you here as well.
Okay, let's do it.
So you guys get ready. If you're new here, you don't know how this goes. So I'm going to tell you what you're going to do right now is you're going to just take a deep breath, right? You're going to take a couple deep breaths in and out and just kind of get centered, slow down your breathing so that you're getting towards more like a meditative state. Just take a breath with me and just like chill, right? Get centered, get grounded. And I want you to close your eyes if you will. You don't have to, but think about what you believe in, like your higher power. Could be your higher self, could be source, the universe, spirit, could be God, could be Allah, could be Buddha, could be the Tao. I don't know. I'm open to everything. You do you. But this message is from that energy, that source, that person, that higher power to you. So how this works is I'm going to shuffle these cards up and I'm going to take one that flies out, right? So it's completely random. And that is going to be your message from your higher self, your source, your God, whatever you believe in. You can hear me shuffling the cards probably. And that message is the message for this collective watching this whenever you watch this. Okay. And these are, before I go on, in case you want to know, these are called the Soul Truth Self-Awareness Card Deck. So we're just playing a little cards here. Don't make it mean anything too crazy, right? But I'm going to get you a message. They're by Brianne Hovey. And let's see what comes up for you today.
Let's see.
Oh, you know what? You got two. One fell. Hold on. Okay, I got it. You got two today. So you got two messages. And the first one says, how does my body want to move today? Okay. When we move, we change our state and raise our vibration. This new elevated state becomes a channel for more energy. Are you moving your body daily? Are you passionate about it? Is it time to try something new? Your sole action for today is, how does your body want to move today? Listen and joyfully do it. So Tony Robbins says, I went to a Tony Robbins event and he says that to change your emotional state, like how you're feeling, you need to change your physical state, meaning your physiology. You need to move your body. Okay. So if you need to move your body, you don't have to necessarily work out. You can go for a walk, do something you enjoy. You enjoy. Gloria often dances, right? She
Yes.
walks and swims and does lots of things to move her body. And I like to ice skate. I just started that up. I started ice skating at 11. I haven't ice skated in more years than I'd like to share, but since I was a teenager. And I recently started, and I'm a little wobbly, but I'm getting back into it and I love it. I love it. So if you are upset and you're going through a trauma, move your body. Move your body. Okay. And it releases all those endorphins and all of that good stuff. Hi, Chris. I'm glad you were able to join. You just started intuitive dancing on Sunday. That is awesome. Chris does pin up too, and I'm trying to convince her to submit pictures to a magazine.
That's awesome.
So
She
yeah,
should.
we're gonna be in Hawaii together in July, and
Awesome.
we're gonna meet for the first time in person. But we've known each other for like 3 or 4 years now. It's crazy.
Awesome.
Hiking. I like hiking too. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I like gentle hikes. I'm not a like 50-mile hiker like probably you are, Gloria, but I like a good mile, 2 mile, 3 mile hike. I really enjoy that. And this area over here is so incredible for that. I'm excited to meet you too, sweetie. We're gonna have so much fun in Hawaii. Okay, so your next card is, on whom am I placing blame right now? It's like you can't make this up. We talked about forgiving your parents and forgiving
Yes.
people in your life, and in order to become resilient and heal, what can you do? And this is a good card for that. It's like, who are you placing blame on right now? Are you blaming someone? Right? Are you blaming someone? And it says a person who blames others has not begun their lesson. Oh my God, did you say that today, Gloria? I don't know. Is
Yes.
this confirmation? Anyway, a person who blames themselves has begun their lesson. A person who blames no one has finished their lesson. That's from Unknown. Today's soul action: take responsibility. On whom are you placing blame right now? Today, free yourself by releasing all victimhood, blame, and resistance. They don't belong where you are going. Only love and courage live there. Make a choice to do it. Even if you don't feel ready, listen to your heart. You will be led. That is your message. And I am so glad that all of my soul tribe turned up today. Thank you, girls. Thanks for turning up. I love seeing all your comments. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Taekwondo, a red belt. My son just got his black belt in Kempo, and I'm so proud of him. And martial arts is amazing. My little one starts this summer
Yes.
after school is out. That's awesome. That's awesome, girl. I'm so happy. I'm glad you guys got to come and see and be part of the show. Chris, yes, watch the replay. This one is awesome. Flourish in Captivity is the name of the book. That's the one that Gloria wrote. It's on pre-sale, so you can get it anywhere. Pretty much you get books from
Yes.
Amazon, wherever. And definitely go and support her if you're not following her on Instagram. And you can go to her website. It's right there, still scrolling across the screen if you want. And it's that time, you guys. I got to wrap up the show. But I love, love, love that my girls turned up, the Soul Tribe. Set your notifications, girls, so you know when I come live. I'm doing the Soul Deck at the end of every show. And I have a lot of really great guests coming up, and we're going to just have so much fun. Definitely watch the replay if you're just tuning in now. And I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Gloria, you are amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to see everything that's coming for you. You're going to help so many people. That's our joint mission. We both believe in that.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see what happens to you next. And we'll
Me
have
too.
you back to talk about it. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap it up?
Yes. Practice, practice, practice.
It's a practice, just like yoga, just like anything else. It really
Yeah.
is. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys. I love my soul tribe.